Am I here? Am I not here? Am I here? Am I not here? Am I gonna be in the right spot? All right. Hello, peeps. Hello, everyone. I feel like it's been forever since I've posted an actual speaking video. I was working on quite a few art projects, and I actually have been working on building my website, which I used Hostinger for. And you know what? I probably need to get the affiliate link for them so I can actually share a discount with you, because I'm pretty happy with the Hostinger and the simplicity of building this website. And I will place the link down below. You can purchase the originals and prints. I'm still in the process of listing more and more artwork in there. But today's video, I wanted to share kind of a frustration of questioning reality, because even though everything seems nice and dandy, sometimes you stumble upon some information that makes you question reality even more. And if you also don't know what you don't know, and then you don't know where the people get their information from and how valid it is, then how do you know that what you know is really resonates true? Like, unless you listen to the source of life, then how do you know what's real? And even then, how do you know that you're you? And I guess if with probably every single video that I've made, that's always been the question. Like, how do I know that I am? That's the only thing I know. But it got me really angry today. I woke up after a really interesting dream, where I have this thing when I fall asleep and I'm working on my breath, diaphragmatic breathing to the best of my ability, trying to breathe through the back of my stomach and through my heart. And when I find myself in that alpha state, when I'm suspending my consciousness and it will be kind of transitioning into the sleep realm, I would suddenly start feeling, and it would be a really quick feeling, like if it's a flash of light with a really quick sound, like a jet leaving or jet returning, like I always, uh, I don't necessarily know what to associate it with, but I always see a flash of light. And one of the recent times it was so bright. It was like if somebody literally flashed a flashlight into my face as I was falling asleep, which I don't necessarily fall asleep and that wakes me up. I just become more aware of that happening. I'm like, come on, like, what is this? And I can get there a few times, but it's been happening very often. And then recently, well, actually, let's go to the backstory. I did a past life reading that my boyfriend introduced me to, this couple that does Akashic readings of your past lives, and it answers the questions. They answer questions like this. The lady who reads the Akashic records, she goes in a trance. Then her husband, uh, Akashic record reading partner, he asks her questions, and then she, by reading the ether, by reading the Akashic records, she digs out that information and provides it to you. So you can ask questions like, hey, what is happening to me and what is this? And they will, to the best of their ability, explain what takes place. So I've asked her once, I have this happening with me. I'm trying to fall asleep. I'm doing diaphragmatic breathing. I suddenly hear juk sound, and that accompanied by a very bright light. Often it's blue, sometimes it has colors. And I was like, what is this? And I was told that that is the time of soul kind of leaving the realm, leaving the consciousness, but it happens so quickly and rapidly, and then returns that, it kind of awakens my body, and it feels so sudden. And the recommendation was to do, there's a yogic sleep. What is it called? What's the name for yogic sleep? If you know, put in the comment down below. I will remember that at some point. I will probably make another video about this. Excuse me. However, she also mentioned that sometimes that is my guide coming through, one of my guides coming through, and that is a beneficial time for me to ask questions. So I started, the first when I was playing with it, it wasn't really anything. I couldn't figure it out. But lately, the more I started meditating, the more I started doing concentration exercise, which I also learned from my boyfriend. He's been a great teacher for me. I have started doing this thing when I'm falling asleep, and if I experience this flash of light and this jet sounding sound, I address to it. Supposedly my guide's name is Masa. I ask him Masa and just ask him a question. So one night I asked Masa a question. What's beyond this? Like, what's beyond, on the other side of death? Like, what happens? And I guess I always ask it internally. Excuse me. I always ask it internally or out loud, because supposedly the source, the spiritual beings, they hearing your intent. They don't necessarily hear the words that you're trying to place on your intention, but they hear the meaning. They hear what you're meaning to ask. They hear what you're meaning and intending to express, and this is what you get respond for. So I often communicate internally with my internal guidance system. So I ask Masa, what is beyond this realm, physical realm, and what happens after death? And then next day, I had some vague dreams, doesn't matter. Next day, I watching channel of Chris Ramsey, Area 52, and for 3 episodes, he was reading files of one lady who was interviewing an extraterrestrial being, which ET, we don't know if it's extraterrestrial. It's basically got trapped here on Earth, and they had this lady interview this intellectual superior being via telepathy. So everything that this document explains, also take it with a grain of salt. It's like 3 episodes of it, but on the last episode of it, that was so crazy. It actually explains that we on Earth are basically, Earth is a prison, and we trapped here by being attracted to the beauty of it, and then we are sealed here. And every time we try to leave or escape, let's say you're meditating and you get to a place where you can leave your body consciously, that there is a shield, like informational force field, that domes over certain area of our galactical area, and it traps you, and it brushes and cleanses your memory, clears it, and drops you back there. And then when I heard that, and I remembered this experience of me, like, because every time, because I even went to quantum healing hypnosis, and I asked the Akashic records, what is this happening to me when I hear that sound and I see a flash of light when I'm falling asleep? The quantum healing hypnosis therapy, the answer that came through was that your soul is leaving, and I guess there's still part of soul staying. I feel like I need to ask more questions about it. And it's like going out there to grab the keys and come back. There's like, what kind of keys? I didn't get all the answers, because also back then I felt like I didn't have specific knowledges to allow the hypnosis to validate, to come through with enough correspondence to what I'm asking about. So I feel like there's a fine-tunement when you actually have the like the idea, when you have knowledge of something and then you have answer for your question, there's a fine line. It's like if you don't know anything at all and you start receiving answers, you don't know what the fuck you getting the answers for. Like, you don't know what that is. But if you have some type of background and you're receiving the answers that validating or disproving the idea of your knowledge, then you can kind of can wiggle in that area. So I wonder if this is what's happening, because I did the quantum healing hypnosis 4 years ago, and it was extremely new to me. So whatever came through came through. So it told me that at those moments at night when I'm falling asleep, my soul leaves, grabs the keys, comes back. It's like as if it would be that. Just now I'm thinking like, what kind of keys it grabbing and comes back with? And here in reality, I don't necessarily know much. I feel things happening to me. I feel things happening to my body. And the more I meditate, the more I pray and express appreciation of connection to self and the source, the more revelations I start having, the more intuitive openings start happening. And there's some internal knowledge that I find within myself, but I don't know what to do with it. And I don't know, people say like, well, maybe you can teach something. I don't know if I can teach it. Like, I don't know what would be teaching, because I'm just finding myself in new places of the universe. Like, for example, right now, one thing that started happening with me, I've had issues with my spine, my back, and I was never been able to take a full diaphragmatic breath. When I became a yoga teacher, I learned that diaphragmatic breath is one of the most crucial things you can actually teach your body to do to help it benefit in so many ways, because it oxidizes your body really well. It stretches, it helps you in moving your bones. This single diaphragmatic muscle does so much for your body that treats you beneficially, and it just feels good. I never understood that I could feel good just by breathing. And every time I would sit down to meditate and breathe, and they say, breathe with your stomach, it would hurt. Now I have this pain releasing seemingly on its own. And some of it comes with the help with plant medicine, and some of it comes with the help of fasting and meditation. And I hear my bones moving inside my body. When I sit down in silence, I can feel the shifts on my spinal discs actually aligning, because I do have deformities still, but with every day I find improvement, and I started dancing through life. Every time I start moving, I feel like I'm dancing a little bit, and I feel more confident in my body. I feel more confident in my voice. I feel like I'm speaking from deeply inside of myself. And now all of this strange information started coming through that I don't even want to, like, screw internet. I don't even know if I want to listen to any of this anymore. It's curious, but the more curious I get in all of these fairy tales, the more I get lost in the details of this. So when I heard Area 51 talking about this, hey, there's a force field that holds your souls trapped on Earth, and every time you try to escape, it zaps you and you lose all your internal memories and being brought back to Earth with new memory. And I was like, shoot, it was like, is that what happens to me when I fall asleep? Like my soul is just trying to escape, and then it being zapped back down because I don't lose consciousness. Like, I'm fully awake. So I was like, is there a correlation, or am I just like crazy? Now the question is, being an artist, you open to all sorts of ideas that could be so far beyond anything. Like, check out any fiction, science fiction writers. Like, where the heck do they get all of that from? And yeah, maybe that's useful, and I'm sure I could probably use a lot of it for my artwork. But what do I do with my brain? It's hard sometimes, and if I share it with other people, they're like, well, yeah, I get it, but I can't like deny what I'm experiencing. That's why it's also, I'm finding it extremely important disciplining my mind, so I can actually, okay, this thought sounds ridiculous. Do I get to keep choosing to think that thought, or do I transfer my thinking process to different direction? This is what I'm working on, and this is quite peculiar, because then one of my coworkers sent me a video about all these Anunnaki and the 13th constellation thing, which is, I'm sure that's all true because mythology, everything happens, but then it's kind of becoming terrifying. It's like, yes, the story keeps repeating itself. You're trapped on Earth, and this 13th constellation is the only pathway, and the only way you can escape it by listening to the source and not listening to any worshiping, and that only parasites need to be praised. The source doesn't ever need you to praise for anything. And I was like, okay, it got me really angry. Like, whom do I listen to? Who has the truth? Who doesn't have the truth? And anywhere outside I look, it's all an illusion. And the only thing I know that is true is that I am here, and like, I'm having this physical body, and I don't even know who I actually am. I just know that I exist, and I know that I'm having this experience. And I also know that I still depend on the opinion of others somehow. I find that it matters, and sometimes I don't really give a toot. I don't care if you think that I'm crazy. I'm an artist and I get to be crazy, I suppose. So honestly, I don't know where I'm at. I just know that the only thing I can do is my next step. And if I'm stuck here on Earth, whether it's prison or not, might as well keep living this life, because exiting this life also doesn't really do you any good. So might as well keep going. And I'll just show you a new piece that I'm working. Actually, that's not a new piece. I started working on it when I got scammed, and I was really angry with that part of world, and like assholes who just wanted bluntly take advantage of other people and feel good about themselves. Good for you guys. I was thinking, maybe I'm in the wrong industry. Those people apparently scam other people, get a bunch of money, and they feel happily ever after, and they don't seem to have any shame or anything. I was like, that's probably feeling great. Like, why do I feel so bothered? If I lie to someone, or if I don't want to do something and I have to be like honest all the time. But I guess it's just not how my moral principles were settled. So, or maybe I'm just too old of a soul to just go around and scam other people. Like, I don't feel good about myself doing that, but other people do. Like, good for you guys, I guess. Go make that money by stealing it from other people. Government does it. So if you also want to get certified as therapeutic art practitioner, this is what you can do. You can go to primolearn.com, and they have few courses that very, very well put together. I took therapeutic art practice. There was 8 modules. They have PDFs. You read it online at your own pace. And you can also listen to the audio, which is what I did when I was driving, for example. What was also awesome, I got myself a binder, and I just printed every module so I can highlight the material that is important to me. This is basically what it looked like. And then at the end of every module, there is a quiz to test your observations. And at the end of all modules, there is an exam. When you pass the exam, you get a digital certificate, And you can also request to get a golden seal certificate. So this is what I just received in mail. I'm certified therapeutic art practitioner now. And this is, as long as you're studying, this is fairly easy. And let me show you what their website looks like. Okay, and this is how you find it. You go to primolearn.com, go to their website. You can create the account right away. You can poke around the courses that they have. And this is the first one I started with. Art therapy course. They have multiple others: Ayurveda, NLP, hypnotherapy. And I purchased few extra here, but I have yet studied it. Now, when you select the course, you can see the companies that have put it together and made it all legit. You can go over the perks of it, and you can see the certificate that you get to request to have. You do get digital one, and you can also have the golden seal certificate. Now, you will have to pass the exam once you're done with all the modules. You can study at your own pace. You can read it online. You can listen to it. And you can really boost up your knowledge in psychological aspects of creativity. And it's a really nice tool to have in your creative tool belt. So check it out. Use the link in the description of this video to get 10% off. I wish you luck. Stay creative. Anyways, so this is another painting I'm working on. Hopefully you can see it well. So that was the piece. When I found out that the guy who was scamming me for a whole year pretended to be my best friend, he was pretending to be a level 5 gym member, which was a global information network that I was a part of. It still exists, but I left because it requires payments to be a member. And I also became skeptical of all the hype that was happening. And it was one of those things where I decided, like, do I listen to everybody else who says, this is good for you, and this is good for you, and this is good for you? And I got lost. I couldn't hear my own voice. I didn't know what that was. And this was a response to all of those. And I was like, you know what, guys? F you. I'm gonna do my best listening to myself and identifying what I find good for myself. And I feel like I need to do a couple touch-ups, maybe add a little bit pink here and there, but I think I can release it soon. And you know what? I think it would be a really fun postcard or a greeting card or a good prank card. There was one actually at Walmart. I found one really, really cool birthday card that has little flames on the front. And on the front of the birthday card, it says, I went to hell and back to get you this birthday card. And when you open the card, it says, so if you don't like it, you know where to go to return it. And I find it really hilarious. So this could be one of those greeting cards that I think I'm going to make print for. If you find it hilarious, please drop a comment down below. If you want to see more, you can purchase them on my website eventually. It will be released soon. And, you know, if you're also an artist and you have a really complex, messy, highly intuitive, yet very deeply going brain, if you could relate to anything that I've mentioned today, if your brain, if your mind takes you to places you don't know if real, or you don't know if it's has any valid background, or if it's supported by anybody else, feel free to reach out. Honestly, I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I'm sure some people just find themselves in crazy places in their minds, and especially creatives. When you're creative, you sometimes just fall into those imaginary worlds that might as well explore them. And then I guess the reality that we live in, the physical reality, is already trippy as heck. And we also get to live here and figure out what's real here, and if what other people say is real, and if all the mythology and stories that we hear are ever real, and and then my yoga teacher says that I once I did a past life reading, and I had my yoga teacher read it, and she's like, why do you want me to read it? Like, what are you going to get out of this? I was like, I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out what's happening to me. And she's like, well, even this past life reading is still an illusion. You know, the great yogis say that everything is an illusion. And since everything is an illusion, it's like, how do I cooperate? How do I just, how do I live in this world? And the only thing I can do is just do the next thing that I find right, that feels good. Stop stressing about what maybe not real, not real. But it kind of pisses me off, not knowing what's reality. And then there's always the controversial feeling that this is good and this is bad. And then the opposite sides will say of each other that I am good and you're bad. And the good guys say like, no, I'm good and you're bad. And everyone thinks they're good, and everyone thinks that the other side is bad. Where's the middle? Where's the middle? Where's the source? So thanks for listening to me, and I'm happy to be back on the video. And if you're also in the search for yourself, in the search for source, in the search of knowing who you truly are, give me a like, place a smiley face in the comments, say something. I don't know. Even if you think I'm totally crazy, just say it. I don't care. I'm curious to find out how many people actually find themselves in a place where something happens to them and they're not really sure what to do with it, and maybe looking for a mentor, because I'm looking for someone who can explain to me what happens. Then I always end up coming back to myself, and it's strange. And I feel like I should be the one who knows best what's good for me. And yet I find myself questioning if I'm doing the right thing for myself. Nobody else can say that, right? So